Good morning, everybody. So I've been having a ton of issues with my new camera. So I'm gonna film a video on my phone like I did in the beginning, so that I can at least put out a video. So good morning. I'm going to collect some moss today, and I'm gonna put it in this tray here so that I can start growing some moss for my bonsai trees. So I live here in Florida and moss grows everywhere. So I'm gonna pick little pieces of moss from the yard. I'm not gonna take all of the moss from each area because I want it to continue to grow. So I'm gonna pick little pieces off of the ground here and put them in my container here. So, like I said, I'm gonna just take little chunks of it. I'm gonna leave the rest of it there. And I'm gonna do that throughout a couple of different places in the yard. This is a great way to get moss for your trees. And if you leave part of it, then that's a good way to keep growing the moss so that you can always have it. That's some really dark moss. That's stuff that isn't doing really well right now. It might just be too wet, but you can see like little patches of green. Here's another spot right here. You can see the patches of green, so that means it's going to grow back, but not doing so great right this minute. So I'm gonna go over by the house and there's been some growing right by the hose. I've got the hose over here with my cooler that I keep outside, and I'm gonna pick a little bit from over here as well. I'm kind of wondering if some of the mosses are different types of moss. So I can grow I can grow different types on each tree that, you know, because some trees look better with short moss, some trees look better with larger moss. This one actually is growing on a piece of wood. So some moss grows on soil, some moss grows on sand, some moss grows on rocks and stuff like that. So if you get a moss that grows really well on wood, it's not going to grow as well on the bonsai soil. So that wouldn't be a good type to put on your bonsai soil. This moss right here, it grows very large. I've got some I got a bug in my eye. Give me a second. It grows kind of large, so I've got some of that on one of my trees, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But it just grows too big for most of the trees that I've got. Here's another type of moss. There we go, focused. That's some really, really cool moss. I think I'm going to grab a piece of this too. I'll wipe off the camera. There we go. All right, I'm gonna grab a piece of this too. This is some really cool stuff. I just found, or just noticed this. This is actually one of my first times like actually really going around the yard looking for different types of moss. A lot of times I'll just stumble on it and pick a piece and put it on a tree, but that's cool. It's growing in a couple of different places. So I'll have some of that for later. All right, let's get back over to the other side of the yard here. Dog's running around. He thinks we're hunting for something, so he's gonna hang out with me, and or not. He's gonna run off and see if he can find something to catch. Let's see. I know I saw some other moss around the yard. Alright, so we'll go back into the bonsai garden here. Here's some of the taller moss that I was showing you earlier. And you could see that it grows really thick. So that's actually oh, there's a cool frog. Little frogs. Anyway, so this tree actually needs repotted because that's a lot of soil sticking up. So I'm gonna have to repot this tree here pretty soon. It's an awesome tree. I really love this tree. And then some other types of moss that I've got on the trees is like the shorter moss here. And that's kind of more the type of moss that I want on a lot of the trees. I've got this type. Oh, there we go. I got this type on this tree, and I don't know if that's two different types right next to each other or not. I'm not an expert in moss. I just know kind of where to find it. There's a dog. He's a cool dog. Hi, Red. Hi. He's like, where's the squirrel at? I haven't actually shown you guys the back side of the greenhouse, which is coming apart. I need to redo it. I put up a shade cloth for the cuttings on the trees that need a little bit of shade. It's been working out really well. Chickens are going crazy over there. They've been loud this morning. I don't know if there's any moss out here, but no, just a lot of weeds and fallen trees from that's all from the hurricane 5 years ago now, but all the trees that were in the yard we stacked up on the side of the property over here, and that pile of weeds over there and trees right in front of it, that was the other pile of logs and stuff from the hurricane. I don't think I've ever shown like a whole lot of pictures of the yard and the property and stuff. I've got some really cool trees out here. Some mimosas growing here. Love these trees. Some sweet gum trees. Pine tree out here. That's kind of what most of the pine trees look like that here in Florida. You got the long stick and then growth right at the top. I'd like to make a couple of pine trees that look like that. Got another pine tree over here. I don't know if we can see it very well, but it's a little bit older pine tree. Yeah, you can't really see it very well. The top of the canopy is over there. That's the top of the tree. But yeah, so that's also part of the yard. All right, so anyway, back to the moss and the tall grass. That's breeder chickens, the ones that actually produce some chicks. Of course, they're all gonna hide. I don't hold these guys very much, and I don't mess with them very much, so they kind of run away. All right, so I don't think there's any moss over here. This is my pear tree. All the branches are hanging really low because I got some giant pears on here, and I need to get out here and take all these pears off so the tree don't break off, but I'll do that at another time. All right, so back through the garden. Let's go back into the greenhouse here and maybe talk a little bit about the moss. All right, so with the moss, what I've heard about the moss is there are types of moss that grow on different types of substrate. These ones were all growing on sand, and then this stuff is growing on the sand also, and this one's growing on a piece of wood. So you can see the rotting piece of wood, and it's growing on there. So we'll see how all of this grows in this tray here. Let's spread out the substrate a little bit. I just put a little bit of substrate in here. You don't need a thick layer of substrate to grow moss on. And then, excuse me, then we're gonna water it. We're gonna water it down really good. And I'm gonna keep this relatively moist. I don't want to like make it sopping wet all the time, because I want this moss to adapt to growing on the bonsai soil here, so that I can put it on some trees. I'm kind of, right now I'm soaking it down really good to try and get some of the sand out of it, so it'll grow on the bonsai soil. And then I'm going to keep this in the greenhouse to, oh, okay, there we go. Trying to keep my fingers out of the way. I haven't used my phone in a little while. So yeah, so I'm going to keep this in the greenhouse, and I'm going to keep it watered, and we'll see how this grows. So just a short video, just so that I can get a video out. It's been a couple of weeks since I put out a video. I've been having a lot of issues with my other camera, with the settings. When I got it, I messed with it and messed up all of the settings on it. So now, like when I take a video, the light flickering and all that stuff makes it look like a strobe light, and I am not tech savvy, so I'm working on it, learning some stuff. So yeah, hopefully you guys have some patience with me. and I'll get some more videos out. I'm working on it. I'm watching some YouTube videos on how to use this camera and how to get it set up right. So I should be able to use it here in the near future and put out some more good videos on trees and stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.